about that, but I might be wrong.
I can almost back you up with that. I know, like, Bane has very even stats that all go up over time significantly.
Exactly. So like, he's one of these supports that doesn't care. He's so much in the early game. Like, he's not scared about fighting anyone in a one-on-one matchup. So I think that since they will have to have one of these more static supports, Bane is one of the better ones, and now they have a great setup as well with the Bane plus Lish. So I mean, I suppose. Can we turn off the lights? I had the same issue in my game. I mean, the most simple way NiP could lane this, I guess, it's Lesh, Bane safe, Wisp tiny mid, offlane shaker.
But what are the advantages? I know you said like Bane is a little bit more like he's really good stats and maybe he's a bit tankier and just doesn't care too much. But what is the advantage of going the Bane over the Shadow Demon? They both set up the Lesh rack, but what are the pros and cons to each?
Well, as I said, like this Shadow Demon, when he's running around by himself, he's actually not that scary. He has this disruption, level 1 Shadow Demon. I mean, he can roam a bit, but this Bane, he can actually go to runes, and if it's just a support or a level 1 offlane, he can actually fight them. He can be scary. And I think it's just about this thing that Wisp is already there. You have this quite squishy support, and if they focus him a lot, if he's not having a good game, it will be tough for him. But Bane is like, he's just the tankier version of SD. They're pretty much the
And I think
very similar, but.
Their last pick being the Disruptor, a little bit easier to talk about that one. It's just a really solid pickup versus Wisp Tiny, right?
Yeah, I think it's one of the... I'm a bit surprised they didn't ban it, especially since they like to use it so much themselves, NiP. But yeah, for sure, I think the Disruptor pick is perfect against Wisp Tiny. I'm not 100% sure about the laning, as I said. I guess it's just going to be this safe lane Drow, mid, Queen of Pain, off lane Clock, the standard ones.
Do you think because oftentimes when we see Tiny Wisp middle, usually the enemy team rotates a support into the middle lane to help out the mid laner up against the Tiny Wisp? Do you think that's a possibility here for VP, or do they leave the Quap alone?
No, I think that they will quite quickly try to... I mean, at the same time, I think that Shaker offlane here is really good. He's going to get the lane back by just blocking, etc. But, I mean, he won't really go for the CS, right? So, I think quite quickly in this game, Drow is going to outlevel the ES, and then FNG can pretty much just roam around together with this Rubik, so I think for sure they are going to focus on this mid lane. I mean, you don't really like leaving Wisp Tiny alone. If you're not just putting a Bristleback there, for example, or like we played against IG, I think sometimes, and they put a Clock in mid when we played CK Wisp, for example, and those things do work. I kind of like that approach when you just put this hero that just doesn't care.
You need something that's significantly tanky or very disruptive to deal with Tiny Wisp, just because they spam out so much, right?
Is that an NiP sentry? Yeah, they were looking for that mid ward. But actually, this Queen of Pain mid with the draw aura is very, very disgusting. And if he's... I mean, first few waves, he will be able to pretty much do what he wants. Once Tiny gets level 2, level 3, it starts to get a lot scarier.
Yeah, particularly with Lil doing the body blocking from the spawn, that actually got them a big advantage when it came to the creep.
I think this is really, really crucial, and I think I mean, some teams don't do this. We forget about it sometimes, but I mean, if you can just secure the safe lane, sending a support to block the mid lane for the solo is so huge. It has such huge impact. But yeah, everything goes pretty much like we expected, I suppose. The offlane Clock is...
It's kind of being zoned out a bit by Seal Kid, not quite getting as much. Like the Earthshaker is already level 2. Clockwork is just going to hope to be able to soak some of the experience from these neutrals dying in order to pick up his level 2. But it is quite a dangerous lane, right? Just because the Bane leading with the sleep, there's nothing that Clockwork can do about that. The cogs don't protect him against the 2 different range heroes, as the sleep's going to lead into a split Earth, and they're right on top of him. So it's a tough lane for a Clockwork, to be sure.
I mean, another point of Bane, I guess, it's not a huge thing, but I mean, his sleep is 4 seconds, disruption is 2.5, so it makes it a bit easier to actually just get this sleep off.
Right.
It's a lot scarier than if the SD is out there alone, quite far off. He disrupts the clock. It's hard for the Leshrac to just rotate out there.
Yeah, like against a Shadow Demon, you can usually read, okay, the Leshrac is defending against creeps underneath his tower. He's not going to be able to get here. But a Bane with 4 seconds is, you know, an entirely different matter.
For sure, for sure. That's also why I like sometimes, I've seen some support players that go for the, when they get Shadow Demon and they see that they won't really get this easy setup all the time, so they will go for the level 1 Shadow Poison sometimes and just zone him out with that. But yeah, I have to check the laning phase.
Yeah, trying to keep a close eye in this middle lane and seeing how it goes. Right now, our Tiny does have 11-3 CS, 14-4 on the Queen of Pain, so a slight advantage there. God is also putting a lot of pressure on the Tiny Wisps, or at least as much as possible, with this Shadow Strike and the right clicks. He does have double healing salves. This is a little bit interesting. Double healing salves instead of the tangos to be able to keep you above that burst potential range. I mean, right now, God is sitting in a very precarious position. 400 HP. If he gets hit by the Avalanche, Toss, plus some Spirits, he could actually die right away. But at the same time, you don't want to blow a potion ineffectively, right? Because you're only going to get 300 HP out of it.
I guess he's just going to make sure that when he's below full HP, he's just going to play it very safe, and then he will just flask up to make sure he will be that full HP. I don't think they will one-shot him, honestly. I mean, I really, really like this double null. I mean, we used to, God bless you, Hani, we used to make fun of Hani because he always went for this double null. Like, we more or less we made fun of it because it would always be double null. Yeah. We didn't know why, but
Hani is very set in his ways in that regard. He likes the builds, and he sees, you know, some pros and cons to it, and he sticks with that build through and through.
I think this build is very good, especially in this game when they have the precision aura. So his damage is, honestly, it's quite sick there. I mean, it's 90 damage pretty much from a Queen of Pain, low 4. Yeah. So it makes it a lot more annoying for this Tiny.
Yeah, pretty insane, coupled with the Drow Ranger aura. The damage that he is already outputting is pretty insane. Now, the bottom lane, they are keeping Yoda some fun, pretty zoned out. He did manage to make up his level 2 and has some boots, but this is one of the big downsides of an Earthshaker, right? He can't really do much besides just try and make his offlane work. He just blocks as much as possible. Maybe he goes for a roam gank in middle lane, which we may see right here. This extra bit of disable may just be exactly what they need to be able to get the kill on God, but he already backs away. Good reactions there.
Because of the ward, you know, because NiP, they put the sentry in the middle lane, so they kind of hope that he doesn't have the obstacle. Oh my, look at that. Do they not see that?
Yep, unfortunately, just...
That is very, very unfortunate. But yeah, they don't know he has a ward. So they were hoping for the easy kill there. But I mean, it went pretty much as I said. I mean, sure, the Shaker does get that fast level 2, as it did.
Right.
But I mean, after that, it quite quickly becomes very, very difficult. So I like it when he just starts roaming instead. It will make... I mean, sometimes he can scout out the smoke, he can counter gank mid, etc, etc. But I mean, VP is getting quite a good laning phase.
Yeah, they're getting free farming of Drow Ranger and Queen of Pain getting quite a lot of CS. Their offlane Clockwork, only 2 CS on him. He is sitting on level 2, so very similar situation. Lil actually pushing aggressively forward here, but not much they can really do. Not without level 6 on the Queen of Pain. They don't quite have the bursting power to kill the Wisp for that first blood, but perhaps soon they do get a fall avalanche and the follow-up. The blink away just in time. God managed to get out. Now Era's going to be caught, locked inside that kinetic field, and they're just going to be able to right-click him down with the Drow Ranger aura. God being able to pick up that first blood after almost giving it up.
Yeah, that was really well played by VP, and I mean, since they had the ward, they know where Earthshaker is. They were waiting for this move. I think it was a bit close. I think the God didn't expect him to get the toss off, probably, but nonetheless, he did survive. So VP was in position to make the counter gank happen, and I mean, this is a very sad point for NiP, I think. I mean, I've been in a similar situation, I think, where, I mean, if you die early and they have this draw aura, Queen of Pain, he's gonna get level 6. It's gonna keep bottle refilling. At some point, he's just gonna be able to kill this Wisp over and over again. What I think that NiP should have done is that they should have just kept farming, kept focusing on those stacks,
right,
and then just predict the fact that VP is gonna rotate. Problem from there is that they're not getting anything off this off lane, and VP is actually gonna get a tier 1.
Yeah, Illidan, he leaves it just above the deny range, but he is hoping to be able to take that tier 1 tower quite soon. That's one of the other downsides of having an Earthshaker as your offlaner. Not much he can do against pushes, especially when he roams out of lane. So
I'm just very curious about how NiP is gonna itemize this, because I'm not a huge fan of the blink. I mean, I can really see it work, and in some games it is really good. But me personally, I don't enjoy having to go a blink over Axe. I think that Tiny just farming going Axe is the way to play it. But I think that in this game, NiP probably has to go for the blink Tiny, because I'm not sure. They do have Shaker to initiate perhaps, but I don't think he's gonna have a...
Yeah, he's not going to have a real quick Blink Dagger, and I guess there's too many opportunities with the Blink Dagger against this Virtus Pro team, right? You've got a Queen of Pain, you've got a Draw Ranger. Both of those heroes, you want to be able to close the gap nice and quick and get that instant disable down, and they don't really have any other options, like, as you said, besides the Earthshaker, who's probably not going to get the fastest of Blink Daggers.
I think it's going to be a lot about Earthshaker and Leshrock being... like defending these towers, setting up for these fights. You get a good Fisher, you get a couple of lightnings off. Their HP is gonna go down slowly and slowly. I think they're gonna get this tower though.
Yeah.
NiP is not even contesting it. I think they're making the right choice. Yep, and they went to clear these stacks now, it seems.
Lil is actually trying to sneak around, perhaps catching out Yoda He does get the telekinesis, but they have no Draw Ranger. And unfortunately now with the Fisher, Lil may be caught out. Seal Kid trying to get close enough. They throw out the glimpse. And he does get the sleep off. Lil managing to, nice play there. FNG waking up Lil. And then Illidan waking up FNG in turn, all being able to get away successfully now. God is coming in from the side. Ninjas and Pyjamas are going to be caught by surprise here, as already leading with the Thunderstrike. God coming in, throws out the ultimate, trying to pop Jonas Upon. They will actually lose FNG, and almost God there, as Limp manages to output a good amount of damage. But still, they kill the offlaner in exchange for their support, and the creep wave will now bounce back to their favor.
I mean, if NiP's rotation there would have gotten let's say the Queen of Pain as well, it would probably have been worth it, but I mean, now they invested 2 TPs to TP bottom. At the same time, they were going, he got glimpsed back with Bane to top lane, and Clock put pressure on the Bane. Then Wisp had to TP top, he did cancel that TP, but they've used 3 TPs.
Oh, relocate up to the top lane. 4 heroes being committed just to kill this Clockwork. DK Phobos not having a fun game. He already was dealing with such a tough dual lane where he's still only level 4, but then on top of that, they commit the first relocate of the game to be able to pick him off.
Yeah, this is exactly what NiP has to do now. I mean, they just cleared some stacks. The TP relocated top for some easy kill. Is Tiny gonna buy the point booster here? Is it flying out? I love point booster, I have to point that out. The best item in the game.
Everyone loves the point booster. Such an efficient
that's
item.
That's why it's so nice to play Lesh and Pugn on those heroes right now. Like, you can go for Axe, Bloodstone, you can go for Octarine.
So many point boosters.
Yeah, it's beautiful. If it was Dota 1, I would probably buy like triple point booster before I finish a single item. That was my thing. Such a bad thing to do, but it's nice.
Alright, so Illidan is actually going to be spending his time jungling, whether between the neutrals or the ancients, and he's actually going to free up this bottom lane for DK Phobos to get some much needed experiences. He cannot afford to be without his level 6 for too long. This also means when Clockwork gets his level 6, maybe he rotates out, and then Virtus Pro can actually leave FNG at the bottom lane to get his level 6. It's just generally a good idea to be able to use your carry.
I mean, it's just so efficient if you can do this without problem. But NiP is invading. This is...
Yep, FNG going to be picked off here. Gets off the glimpse, but of course the sleep is going to lead into the split earth. Pretty normal situation. First smoke play, VP not going to be too upset about that one.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they only did lose a support for a smoke, and smokes are quite important. I'm a bit surprised they didn't decide to pressure bottom at all. After that smoke gank, I felt like it was a quite natural rotation, but as Lesh skill, Diabolic level 1, I mean, they did get something out of it. What I was going to point out before, when you said this thing about Phobos getting bottom, I thought that the correct play before, when NiP lost the tier 1 on bottom, would have been to send ES mid and just sack the bottom tower.
Okay.
And then maybe rotate this Lesh, who already had a TP for the tier 2. and he just TPs into lightning, spam them back, so they won't get more than that, because Wisp and Tiny was clearing the jungle at the same time, so I think they could have gotten a bit more out of that, but still.
Oh, toss in, they're actually going to be able to jump on the lip right away. Whoa, God, okay. Missing out on that one, but it doesn't matter too much. They still get the kill. Nice little toss play there. The stolen toss from
from Rubik.
Lil.
Did he toss in the Queen of Pain? Or?
Yeah, he tossed in the Queen of Pain.
Okay. Yeah, that's a huge kill.
Yeah, so very big pick off, and this is one of the big advantages, right, of running a Queen of Pain, particularly against some of the other squishy intelligence cores that are being run right now, like Leshrac. He's just so susceptible to the nukes in the first 15 minutes.
For sure. I mean, this Queen of Pain, he's gonna have a good game, I think.
TK Phobos really wants to pick off on Eric here, but they already have the TPs in, and VP quick to back up. 2-man stun, 3-man stun actually. It lands on Lil as well. But Virtus Pro not wanting to push their luck too much. They needed a cleaner initiation if they wanted to go for that one.
For sure, and NiP still had to relocate as well, so I think that they realized that it didn't go so well.
This means Zera's going to be quite close to his Aghanim Scepter as he clears through some of these stacks.
Yeah, but I'm happy to see he did go for the axe still. I mean, I think that the blink could have worked out, but they did get some kills anyways. They did get one free kill on top. I guess they will just invest for the late game. I think that you can just throw that blink in later on in that case.
Now, how do you actually, TK Phobos actually sees Seal Kid, able to lock him in, goes to the cogs and should be able to get this kill, or maybe not. Seal Kid tries to go out the brain sap, does manage to get it off, the sleep attempted, can't quite get it off. That battery soul just so pesky. In the meantime, they do also get the Rubik there in that bottom lane, thanks to the relocate play, so a trade-off, support for support.
Yeah. I guess they're fine with that, both of the teams. Were you going to ask something?
I was going to ask, what's the best way? Every single time, you know Tiny and Wiz are going to be stacking up the jungle. It's a standard play. Early on, though, it's kind of hard to invade. So what's the best idea to control that? Do you try and push down the towers, knowing that they're going to be busy jungling, or do you actually try and make some sort of invasion?
I mean, sometimes I feel they're going to...
God, very dead here.
Such a good pick-off. That's very, very important for NiP. Queen of Pain was heading toward a really, really nice game here, so getting that pick-off on him has a huge impact. Era, is he only one item from? Oh yes, 2 more items I think. As I was gonna say, I think that just for like pressuring mid lane a lot, so that Wisp actually cannot leave the lane to go stack. That is one approach. But then you also need an offlaner who will pressure their dual lane, so this Bane can't just run and stack for free. I think that Fnatic does something that they usually do when they have Furion against Shen, where they just block pretty much every single camp.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it works. But for me personally, I think that just putting enough pressure on mid so that Wisp pretty much can't leave the lane, because sure, he might get those stacks, but at least then you have a winning lane in mid, so this Tiny Wisp won't be so scary.
Right. The smoke up, they are gonna find Lil here. No, never mind. Telekinesis gets thrown out, Sleep gets laid down. TK Phobos locks Jonas upon inside the cogs, is gonna go for the kill. Feed script gets laid out, but God says no way, I'm gonna be able to get that kill before the feed script lays in. Now Illidan, all of that taking is thanks to the early Sage, is gonna be able to survive through the combination. Air goes down, Hanskin's gonna fall as well. Nope, never mind, tether away. And there's no glimpse to catch him out. The haste is gonna run out. TK Phobos unable to catch up.
I think that was
TP successful.
I think it was FNG who glimpsed the Tiny there. I think it was really, really well played, because Tiny could have came up from behind, one shot at the Rubik, and then Wisp could just have helped that fight a lot. But that glimpse really, really screwed NiP a lot, and the Wisp didn't get a chance to reel him out because he dropped a good silence as well. So it was a really, really good engage for Virtus Pro, and I think that they feel like this game is going just like they wanted.
No, Fisher getting laid out. Lil, another sleep. Limp is going to follow that up with a lightning. Lil is surviving a little bit longer than expected, but sure enough, his team, probably the best play they could have done there, just leave him, right? Yeah. There's no way you're going to save that Rubik.
For sure. I think that you should be happy when it's only the support dying.
I really like the timing here of the Drone Ranger pushes that are coming into play, because even if Tiny had Aghanim Scepter and his farm was a little bit better, he still wouldn't be like a serious factor in these team fights just because there's so much magic damage and control, right? And then also the Leshrac is still very squishy at this point in time. Like, he can turtle for sure, but the team fights themselves are a little bit questionable. If Flip's the one who's initiated on, they're going to lose the fight immediately.
Yeah, and this Clockwork, I mean, it's a very good hero at screwing it up for this Tiny as well. You just have to hook in somewhere, cog him so we cannot run past, etc. So,
right.
I think the VP has a very good lineup to deal with it.
Yeah, particularly if he is able to finish up this early blade.
I think he's going for a... I'm just looking at Ildan right now. He has 2k gold. He has a Sanj.
Does he complete the SNY?
Well, I mean, that's what I would guess in most cases, but if he's saving the gold, this might be a Shadow Blade, right?
Absolutely.
Fall off by the Silver Edge, so it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, it can... We've seen a lot of SNYs. In fact, this is very similar to like the way the Gyrocopter would build, right? Yeah. Where you go for the Sage first for the initial tankiness, which is kind of a necessity for Drone Ranger in this game. You've got a lot of potential to burst down the drone.
Smoke coming out from Virtus Pro now.
Yeah. A Silver's Edge would be excellent, particularly against the Tiny.
He did buy something. Yep, he is going for the Silver Edge.
Nice. Do you agree with going with the Sage first over the Shadow Blade?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay because he doesn't show anything. Right. He hasn't told NiP that he's gonna go for the Shadow Blade. He could just be screwing with it.
Lips pack, Seal Kit, very much dead.
Yep, that's an easy pick up for them. NiP just got their Ags as well, so I guess they're just gonna start this split pushing. At the same time, it is so annoying to split push against this Disruptor. But if anyone knows how to do it, it should be NiP.
Yeah. And now they've got two different heroes who are monsters at being able to pick off the Tiny. They've got the Drone Ranger, who's got the Silver's Edge, who, when you lead, you're able to take away the armor from the Tiny, who's already like a very naturally low armor hero, right? And then you take away that craggy exterior, and it gets even worse. You follow up the Silence, you just beat him down from there. And you also now have the Orchid pick up at the Queen of Pain, so it seems like this is going to be a game where Hotskin's going to have to pull out overtime to saving his Tiny with relocate plays.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what does Tiny need there? I still think a blink wouldn't have been bad, because you want to get in on this draw. But at the same time, they won't really one-shot him anymore, so I think he will just go for the standard Kuras BKB, I suppose.
I was about to say, is the BKB a necessity here for Era?
I mean, no, probably not. You're right there. I mean, they do have a draw lineup, so there's a lot of physical damage. There's pure damage from the Queen of Pain. I think it's going to be a lot about if this Wisp is actually going to be able to survive the fights. If he does, I think that the NiP might have a good chance of taking these fights, but if Wisp, for example, gets bursted right away every fight, that the Queen of Pain will just blink on him, Orchid, Scream, the Sonic Wave, and he dies. Because Tiny without Wisp is not the coolest hero.
Yeah, and this is one of those games where you probably have to... You can't really sit with your Tiny all the time, right? Because this is what Queen of Pain really excels at, is she's so good at being able to burst down Wisp first. Yeah, the relocate in, they do throw down the Silence, DK Phobos. Oh, and Echo Slam managed to catch both the supports there, locking down Era, cleans up DK Phobos, but here comes God and Illidan. But there's the Fiend Script, and they have nothing to be able to stop it. Oh, God is just left to the mercy of Ninjas and Pyjamas. The relocate back! Oh, Tiny managed to survive just barely. Illidan chased down, and they have the counter vision, and they need to be able to catch him out. Virtus Pro lose 4 in exchange for just a pick off on the Earthshaker.
Perfect fight for NiP, but they just got the Blink Dagger, I think. I think that Virtus Pro didn't even see that Blink Dagger.
Yeah, that was the Blink Dagger that was picked up like 30 seconds ago.
I didn't notice it, so I thought that NiP was going to lose that fight for sure, but that was a great initiate by the Earthshaker, and made that fight possible. I was very, very close to dying as well, but the Fiend Script came off at exactly the right time, so really, really well played by NiP, I have to say. I mean, now after a fight like this, I think that they're getting more and more... Is he? No, it looks like he is going for the BKB right away.
Now, there is something to be said here for this build on Virtus Pro, both the Orchid over Aghanims on the Queen of Pain and the the Silver's edge over other stat builds in BKB. This means you have less 5-man team fighting capabilities, which also means you have less pushing power.
It's very true. So
do you think this is gonna, like, Virtus Pro at this point have to focus on pickoff so much and they can't actually go and take down tier 2s and really threaten Ninjas and Pyjamas, which means this late game is gonna go a little bit later.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that for Virtus Pro right now, after losing that fight, became a lot harder to pressure. And versus the Earthshaker with Blink, this Lash, Tiny Wisp split pushing at the same time. I think that they should just try to kill the Wisp, I guess. Because if you can find the Wisp somewhere when they're split pushing, you can get Tiny quite easily as well, and from there on just go for the push. But I don't know, I think that NiP is actually in quite a good position now, even if they did lose Taegis.
I mean, just taking a look at the net worth and experience. Net worth going in the favor of Virtus Pro still, but experience now dropping down into the favor of Ninjas and Pyjamas. The net worth is going to continue to climb for Virtus Pro as they manage to take this tier 2, even if it is a cost of one of their tier 1s at the top lane. It's the tower that means the least for Virtus Pro at this point in time, and plus it's a tier 1 tower against a Tiny. It's going to go down eventually, right? So if you can get a decent trade-off, you're happy.
Oh, sorry. I didn't notice that Ildan didn't go for the frost arrows at all. I usually think he gets it at least once, but yeah, I don't know. I guess it's makes some sense.
Yeah, you see a lot of draw rangers wanting to be able to tank up as much as possible so they don't max out frost arrows, but yeah, not even one level.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it would have made a huge difference anyways.
Yeah.
It's not a big thing. What items do you think? The Lash is going for the Yules. I would kind of like to see Yules Blink even. Just being very like mobile, roaming around, split pushing, like Lash split pushing one lane, Tiny with split pushing another, and the rest just camping behind them. Oh, but this is smoke from Vert. This could be a really good
they see the rocket, Ninjas Pyjamas. They know this is not a safe place to be. Hanskin and Era trying to make their way out. They are going to be able to get the hook onto Hanskin here. Should be able to lock him out with the silence and everything else. The good thing is that Era manages to survive. The fact that he gets out is well worth the cost of the Wisp life. For sure.
If they would have been able to scout him and glimpse him after that kill on the Wisp, it would have been huge for Virtus Pro. But they would probably just go for the top tower, right? NiP will not contest that. I think that is the correct decision. They're just farming as much as they can.
Speaking real quickly, the Yule Scepter pickup on Leshrac. I'm sure you watched the Evil Geniuses game where Sumail played a very aggressive Yule Scepter first.
I really liked the way he played Lesh. And yeah, I think that is the correct way to play it, honestly, like if you can. Because I was very impressed by the way he could just... He's very tanky with this Bloodstone that he gets later on as well, but when he has this Blink, Yule's Bloodstone, I felt that he was so scary. I mean, he was the one initiating even in a lot of the cases, so I really like it. It's a perfect setup for the stun as well.
Yeah, it meant he was actually more of a functioning sort of Lina in 6.83, right, where he was able to go hunt and go for kills and utilize those kills to build up the farm into the inevitable Bloodstone.
Yeah, and that Octarine core.
Octarine core, what an item.
Yeah, what an item. I love it.
Alright, so we've got 2 minutes left to utilize this Aegis. Does Virtus Pro push uphill with the Aegis, or is that too much of a risk?
Yeah, I think that they can't really do that right now. They will need some kind of pickoff.
Okay. BKB presumably for our Draw Ranger next item, or something else?
I think it needs the BKB, most likely. But I mean, the thing is, for me personally, I have a hard time for this draw because I don't really know how to itemize. I feel like when I play it, you're pretty much this aura, and if you go in and fight and you die, you pretty much lost the fight because you don't have the aura anymore for the rest of the heroes. BKB, yeah, sure. It could probably be good, but Tiny, won't you just go in melee with you, you lose the aura, and then he will beat you anyways. I'm not 100% certain, but I mean, playing without the BKB in a game like this as well, it's going to be very hard because they have Lesh, Shaker, all this, so...
It looks like they're going to try and hit a mid-game dominance where they've got double BKBs, one in the Draw Ranger and one on the Queen of Pain, who already has an Ogre Club. With that, I feel like they should have the power to be able to go uphill. It's just a bit unfortunate that probably because of that lost fight that they had where they lost 4 heroes, that they don't have the BKB with the Aegis. But this pick-off, the Leshrac, they throw out the Sonic Wave, almost enough. Self-Fuel Scepter to be able to dodge. Silence gets laid out, and Lift will still end up going down. Seal Kid also silence up, and here comes Hanskin and Era from behind. With the relocate, they take out Lil, already grabbing the Queen of Pain. Fortunately, our Draw Ranger is able to get out, but big win there for Ninjas of Pyjamas, even if it was at the cost of Leshrac's life.
Yeah, but at the same time, Lesh is already out. He had 12 Bloodstones or something, so he is not all too sad about that. At the same time, NiP killed the Queen of Pain. They stopped the push. I mean, I feel like Virtus Pro is actually losing control of this. I mean, they are gonna lose control of this game in not all too long. At the same time, it's like this, when you play with Drow, you just have to win. I mean, they have been taking all these tier 1s, tier 2s, etc. So if they just win this one fight...
DK Phobos, that's a very dangerous maneuver when he's all by himself. In fact, you're going to see the danger right here as he gets Avalanche. The toss goes out, doesn't grab DK Phobos, and the glimpse back there, it manages to catch Era, and that will keep DK Phobos alive.
Yeah, I think that he thought that they were going to rotate with the... I'm not sure if it was the Drow and the Disruptor that were moving somewhere. But he did survive. But as I was saying before, I think that, yeah, he's gonna go for the Glimmer Cape soon as well on the Wisp. That's so amazing on Wisp, I really think so.
Yeah, that item, pretty insane. We've been talking about it a lot so far this tournament. We've seen a significant rise of Glimmer Capes. We'll talk about that in a second, but Yuna Samfan, last right click, will be able to take him out. Lip leads with the Yule Scepter. They do have FNG sitting on the side with the Static Sword ready to go. In fact, he's going to use it to stop Seal Kid. Here comes the relocate in, but Illidan, who's already popped his BKB, doesn't really fear that much. Trying to finish off Seal Kid, doesn't quite see him, and now needs the right click, but unfortunately he's stunned up and will end up going down. Now they're going to turn on to FNG. Era living large in charge with that BKB, managed to take down another Virtus Pro. Lose 2, and they're going to lose their tower in the process, it looks like, as unless DK Phobos, does he have the balls to be able to take this one to NiP? Doesn't look like it. In fact, Lil now gets caught by the sleep. Seal Kid, who is hiding in the jungle, pops out, gets the pick off on another one. And DK Phobos will be able to get away, but it looks like Ninjas of Pyjamas are now going to go for a tier 2 tower. They do have a slight push in top lane, but it's not significant enough for them to back up completely, so they will take this tier 2.
Yeah, and Era is just getting bigger and bigger. He just needs the Hyperstone to finish up the Kuras. If they can get, let's say, Vlads and the Wisp later on as well, they will have plus 10 armor on everyone on the team, and just very good against all this physical from draw lineups. And I think that NiP right now are feeling quite confident in this game. I mean, it was so unfortunate though for Virtus Pro. They didn't have TP on the Queen of Pain. He wasn't CD. The Clock didn't even have a TP in his inventory at the point, and I think that Rubik's TP was also CD. So if they could actually follow up when Ildan was there, he popped the BKB. It looked like it could be a very, very good fight for Virtus Pro, but they had no way to follow it up.
Would you agree with me in saying that the Silver's Edge has been a complete like non-factor this game for Virtus Pro?
I agree with you, but that's what I mean. Like, if the game would just have been gone a little bit different, maybe he would be able to go a lot more aggressive with his Aegis that he had. If they wouldn't have failed this push in mid,
right?
I don't know. It could probably have worked out a lot better. But yeah, I think that if he could have gone for, let's say, an early Sangyasha Blink, and he could actually blink silence in these fights with the max silence, I think that would have been more game-breaking. Okay. For example, this mid-fight that they did take, he probably wouldn't have had all the items yet, though. But still, I think that's something I've tried around a bit more myself when it comes to Drow, like just playing a bit more aggressive. If you have a good game, getting this blink silence on 2-3 heroes when, like in the early game, and it will decide a fight completely.
And it feels like at this point in time, Virtus Pro are in a do-or-die scenario where they have these 2 BKBs picked up on their cores. Both Queen of Pain and Draw Ranger have it. They need to be able to utilize that to win a fight and push uphill in the next, like, 5, at most 10 minutes. Otherwise, you're going to be dealing with an Assault Cure as Tiny who takes over the game.
Yeah. No,
and even Leshrac, he now has a BKB.
I agree, but how does VP go high ground?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a Fissure, it's gonna be Lightning, it's gonna be a Tiny waiting for you.
So that in that point, they have to get a pick off. Some sort of smoke gank or using that Silver's Edge to be able to get someone big on the side of Ninjas in Pyjamas, some sort of core pick off before they try and march up
for sure. But also I think that like this Orchid, sure it's a good item, and now I would probably say something that I really dislike because I'm not a huge fan of the Axe co-op, but I think that going in Axe this game would probably even have done more. Just spamming this ult pretty much all the time, pushing out lanes, going for Wisp every fight.
Ooh, this could be a really big fight. They do have to relocate, ready to go. Jonas Savant jumps on the gun first, trying to get off. Oh, quick static storm, and there's the turnaround. Jonas Savant going to be forced back, pulse of silence on Era Hanskin. He immediately gets a two-man stun, takes out FNG. Illidan with his BKB is trying to get out. Seal Kid locked away from the fight. Unfortunately, already using that feed script. God is actually locked inside the trees, but will be able to get out. Meanwhile, Leshrac takes out the Clockwork. Ninjas in Pyjamas win the fight, taking out 2 and get the tier 1 tower.
And the Courier. The Courier flew into the fight with the smoke.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. And yeah, at this point, I'm not sure. I think that NiP are in a very, very good position.
Yeah, they've already got the Assault Cuirass. If they can pick up Roshan here and get the Aegis,
yeah,
it seems very unlikely that Virtus Pro will ever be able to win a fight.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's also why they want to do something about this. They want to contest.
They've already taken out the ward, but Seal Kid sitting outside.
I actually like that move from Jonas. I mean, he pretty much knows that if they don't lose this Roche fight, they will be in a very good part of the game. So he bought out just as soon as they saw VP even like thinking about contesting this Roche. Made them scared. They won't even touch it. They probably wouldn't have been able to take the fight either way, but still, I think it's a good play. I think that a lot of players should do that more often. Honestly, like you die, buy back, go Roche, like something like that. You lose a fight, you can just buy back and get the Roche because then you get one objective, and this buyback isn't even that big of a deal. You can just wait 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's early enough in the game that it's very unlikely that you're going to be punished for using your buyback.
No, exactly. Yeah, I think so too. And this ES, he has Blink, he has Force. Oh yeah, there's a Vlad from the Wisp that I was talking about. I think that at this point, I don't know how Virtus Pro are going to take these fights.
Yeah. Especially with soon-to-be Daedalus coming up for Era. This is not our most typical build on Tiny to go straight for a Daedalus after the Assault Cuirass, but it does mean that Era can potentially just one-shot some of these heroes on Virtus Pro.
I think it's quite good. I think that this is quite common that you see these threads, Ags, Kuras, BKB, Crit. I mean, Envy and a few other Tiny players, they like this Blink. But me personally, I think that this is the correct build. I would usually go for even the, what is called the new item, the Moon Shards, exactly.
Yeah.
After this. And he's just gonna punch everything.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Tinies really like that.
But it's pretty much what you need. I mean, if you have this crit, having attack speed is so good. And I mean, usually people back in the day or whatever you want to say, they tend to go for this butterfly. But in that case, I feel like Moonshard is just a better option for sure. I mean, it's 120 attack speed. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
A popped mom is 100, so.
Tier 2 tower does go down in the top lane. Ninjas in Pyjamas continuing forward with this Aegis, looking to be able to close out this game against Virtus Pro and get themselves into the playoff bracket. Virtus Pro trying to play defense here. They do have the Queen of Pain, who is going to be able to CP back soon. Trying to push out that middle lane and put some pressure out. Era actually gets close to Illidan here, who hasn't popped his BKB just yet. Now goes for it, but they're already getting a quick retreat. Sure enough, Ninjas in Pyjamas have managed to force out a BKB. Now going to be able to turn this one as DK Phobos Yule Scepter straight into the Splinter. Then will be able to take him out with the help of the Fiend Script. FNG next target. He does have a Static Storm ready to go, and he's got to let it loose soon. But they want to be able to take out FNG to make sure that their Tiny does not get kited. In his second life particulars since he's used the BKB, but there goes the Cogs. This is the problem. Era now going to be locked inside the Cogs plus the Silent Hope. They do have that relocate. It's going to be running out soon. Another 6 seconds. They need to be able to finish off Era before that relocate completes, but it doesn't look like they can, so they're going to force back by Limp. And sure enough, the melee Rax goes down. Era gets himself away. Jonas Safon barely out with the Ghost Scepter. They need a rocket here to be able to finish him off, but the damage is already done. They've lost their melee racks, even if they do get this one, which unfortunately they do not. Yonosafun lives. It didn't really matter, right? They killed the Earthshaker. It still doesn't change the fact they've lost 2 towers plus a melee rack.
I think that it could even have gone better for NiP, but they're very, very happy with what just happened. I mean, the way it started off with Drow having to pop his BKB, Tiny hasn't popped his BKB, the misses his hook, and from there on they have a perfect way to take the fight. I think that they could have probably taken both racks,
right,
and just played a bit safer. They chose to dive, but they got out without any big issues, so it seems like they made the right call. They made use of the Aegis, and yeah, I think that they're gonna have a quite easy time playing this game.
Yeah, at this point, looks like we're gonna have a Scotty picked up for Juror Ranger.
But I don't understand this, like...
You don't like that one? Would you have preferred to see Butterfly?
No, but it's more like I don't understand why... I mean, sure, it's for tanking up. I just don't understand the logic behind not skilling Frost Arrows at all, and then buying this Skadi. Yeah, maybe the Butterfly would have been a better case, but I don't know.
It's particularly strong against the Tiny because he never wants to go MKB.
Yeah.
Pretty much so.
I guess it's also about the fact that you want to have lifesteal and slow.
Sure.
So it's a bit better synergy between those 2 orbs,
yeah,
than having the Frost Arrows.
Yeah, that's a good point. Daedalus now finish up on Era. He does not have buyback, so Virtus Pro may be able to take advantage of this one if they win one fight, but as you said, it is a very tough uphill battle as you're going into Lightning, Fissure spam.
Yeah, and I mean, to kill this Tiny, he can get relocated out, he has the BKB, he can get Glimmer Cape. Does Virtus Pro have a Gem? No, but they have Dust. But yeah, it's a very difficult game for Virtus Pro to play right now.
Soon to be Shiva's on Limp, it looks like, with the plate mail pickup. They do have a 4-man smoke trying to set up. Of course, if they get a pick off here, they're going to be able to have to relocate, instantly jump in. God going to be controlled with the relocate on top, and they will be able to get him before he gets out. The jump in, DK Fobal's going to go down as well. Era is going to be controlled, but of course he's not going to pop his BKB. Not needed. They got 2 big core kills on the side of Virtus Pro, now can push uphill.
And Virtus Pro even kind of predicted that rotation, I think. But the Shaker was able to blink faster than the clock hogged him or whatever, so that was really, really crucial. They were able to kill this Queen of Pain before he even got out. I mean, yeah, Virtus Pro had a good early game and they got a lot of towers, but it just feels like their cores haven't... They don't really have that huge impact right now.
They're just... The Queen of Pain and Clockwork just keep on being popped. Even if they do get off some of their abilities, it's just not going to match the sustained damage of both Flashback and Tiny.
And I mean, they have double Glimmer Cape on NiP. Is the Wisp going for a BKB himself? I guess so.
Yeah. Sounds like a good time to me.
Yeah, but is it a... Yeah, I guess it's huge versus Disruptor, that's true. Really good.
Yeah, at the very least, like, it's really tough to be able to get those relocate saves on Era if he's like too deep when a Static Storm is on top of him, right? Because you go for the relocate and then you tether into the Static Storm.
I agree. I think that is pretty much what Virtus Pro can do. They will screw the Wisp in the fights.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just trying to come up with a way that Virtus Pro can play this game. I mean, they don't have the Gem. NiP has the wards. They have the map control. They have quite a lead right now in both gold and XP.
Feels like Virtus Pro pretty much have to like play for the late game where kind of anything can happen, even if you are at a disadvantaged late game going into a Tiny Wisp.
I think that's
probably the right approach. Waiting for NiP to make the mistakes rather than themselves.
Yeah, but we have said Ninjas and Pyjamas do have a very hard time pushing uphill. So
they do, but now they have Tiny and the Lesh, and if they're gonna get the Aegis, it shouldn't be so scared.
We'll see if they get that Lotus Orb that you suggested. Perhaps Yonosafun can pick it up at some point. Put that.
Yeah. Question is if it's so good here. It's not so many target spells from Virtus Pro.
Yeah, that's true. Ninjas and Pyjamas. are looking for a pick off here. Elden trying to get away with the Silver's Edge. It's going to be good. Actually turns around. They're going to fight Era as best as possible, but there goes the ankle slam laid out. Instantly, BKB is popping already. Disruption that causes Era now to be able to pop his BKB and turn this fight. He managed to get a little bit slow there. On to Illidan, now caught in the feed script, and they have no way to be able to stop this one. God comes forward, throws out the Orchid, but it's too late. Illidan is now being caught up by Limp, and will be able to run him down with that magic damage. God is going to be the next target. Era, but he will catch up to him. He does have a toss, throws up onto our Rubik, who's already down. God manages to get away, but it's going to be a buyback forced onto our Draw Ranger. Ninjas of Pyjamas really haven't lost that much for that fight. Glimpse back, looks like Glimp. He's still got his BKB, he doesn't even care. He could have popped it to stop the glimpse, but he knows they don't have the power to be able to take him on. Now he pops the BKB, turns on Illidan, who does not have a BKB of his own. He's going to be stun locked here and taken out for 97 seconds. Ninjas of Pyjamas may have just won this game in one pickoff here, as FNG is going to be the next target. 3 down, Virtus Pro, the 2 cores, Clockwork and Queen of Pain. We said there's not much they can really do in this game, and sure enough, they call it GG. Ninjas of Pyjamas finally managed to take a game off of Virtus Pro.
Yeah. A really great game from them. They kept composure, they didn't panic. I mean, they just let BP take these tier 1s, tier 2s, they kept waiting for the items, they got the blink and the shaker. I think that was pretty much turning point for them. It was super crucial. If they didn't win that mid fight, the game could have been a lot different. I mean, they could even have lost mid racks at that point. But yeah, NiP played it the right way, and I think that Virtus Pro probably didn't itemize as well as they could, but I mean, who am I to judge? I don't
know how to play these draw lineups the best way. But yeah, I'm really impressed with NiP, and I'm happy that they did kind of go against the predictions.
Yeah, as you kind of said going into this, that you felt like Ninjas of Pyjamas were learning as a team, that the TI qualifiers was a learning experience for them, and one of the routinely the toughest matchups for them has been the CIS teams, notably Empire and Virtus Pro. So being able to take them down in this best of 1 is a big victory there for Ninjas of Pyjamas.
I think it's so very important that now they will be even more confident going into the next round. So I think that